He wasn't wearing more of a badge when he was going to the Shanty Town.
All right. Thank you. Councillors, officers and members of the public, welcome to the 1st of April Ordinary Council meeting. To start the prayer, I'll get Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Almighty God, be with us as we work for the people of the Shire of Moorabool. Grant us wisdom that we may care for the Shire as true stewards of your creation. May we be aware of the great responsibilities placed upon us. Help us to be just in all our dealings, and may our work prosper for the good of all. Amen.
Thank you. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. I pay my respects to their elders past and present, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. In accordance with Moorabool Council's meeting procedure local law, the Council will be recording this meeting. The following organisations have been granted permission to make an audio recording, which are the Moorabool News and the Star Weekly. We currently have 7 councillors in person. Councillor Bingham is online and Councillor Ward is trying to get back online. The confirmation of the minutes from the last meeting, can I have a mover for that? Councillor Kerr. A seconder? Councillor Minari. All in favour? Carried. Disclosure of conflict of interest. I don't think there's any conflicts of interest. Public question time, there is none. Petitions, none. Presentations, deputations, none. Moving along to 11.1. We have one speaker on the item, Bruno Tessane, in person. So if you like, you come up to the table, push the button in front of you, it'll go green, and then you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Just push that button.
Go.
Hang on, it'll go green.
Yeah, it is.
Give it another.
Thank you.
It's green? No worries.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, I am pleased to see some familiar faces, people that we've crossed paths with in the past, and I'm pleased to meet the new faces as well. My name's Bruno Tessane. I have my wife with me, Jennifer. We have a submission in relation to the council's Thank you. Our objection is that the excision includes our 91 acres and our neighbour's property of 33 acres. The land was originally excluded in the first draft of the PSP some 10 years or more ago. After representation by us to Council, its inclusion was reconsidered by Council and the VPA. A site walkabout inspection was carried out at our property on the 21st of February 2017 by a delegation including Chris Roder, Andrew Goodsell and 2 other officers, presumably from the VPA. As a result of successful application, our land was included within the low-density development in the Merrimack PSP. Confirmation was served on the 17th of December 2018. That word should be received. There's a copy of an attachment to this document at the back. Preempting approval, Council Rate Department changed the land use classification to residential and we have been receiving hefty rate notices since 2016-2017 rate year. The inclusion or exclusion of our land in the PSP will have massive impact on future rates, revenue, on our property and possible future subdivision. It is not included. If it's not included, there's the question of what is to be done with the rates overpaid in the last 9 years. That's not what I'm here for tonight. I'm just mentioning what the situation is. We will be putting our submission to the VPA to reinstate our lands and possibly our neighbours' land back into the Merrimere PSP as low-density residential development. We understand that Council will be putting its own submission regarding the PSP. It is not clear to us as to how this submission deals with or treats our lands, if at all. In the circumstances described above, we ask that Council support our application. We have fully set out in detail the reasons why our property should be reinstated in our submission to the VPA. Our submission, once lodged by next Tuesday at the latest, will be on public record and available to access to all of you. It can be viewed on the VPA website. We enclose Vic Road's plans showing the proposed Eastern Link going through our property and the Melbourne Water notice regarding a drainage easement along the northern boundary of O'Connell Road. This drainage easement is to serve the estate going up on the plateau north of our land. This infrastructure and any other that may come along will have severe impact on our land and our lifestyle and distance us completely from our forever home.
What, just 1 minute. Everyone's happy for him to keep going? Yep, keep going.
Development is going to happen either way. The question is, do we make the best use of the lands, or do we leave it as a wasteland by the side of the freeway without any possibility of future development or use? How can we put this land to its best use? Now is the time for this discussion and decision-making. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thanks, Mr. Tassoni. Nice to see you back here. So, I've read this. It's a pity we didn't have it earlier. We're getting a bit of feedback here. What do you want out of this? Like, that'll be my first question. Is it?
Yes.
I've read this, and I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the original intention was for the land to be included as irregular residential land as part of the development going up on the plateau. That idea has really not taken off. It always has been intimated that it would be low density residential. So at this point, this is our way forward. Now we say to VPA, put us back in and with a view to being considered for low density housing. Now, in our submission to VPA, we are asking for 1 acre allotments. What we get will be determined entirely by the decision of VPA, their assessments, and so forth. The major point that I'm making in the application to VPA is that their concerns regarding the infrastructure and services of the area will be relieved by virtue of the Eastern Link going through our property. The Eastern Link will have a full roundabout at the base of our property, essentially where my gate is. That roundabout will service all traffic along Lurderdoak Park Road. We'll basically deal with the traffic come through from Gisborne going south towards, it'll join up to the interchange at the Western Highway, from which all traffic can find their way into Bacchus Marsh, Ballan, Ballarat, Geelong, Melbourne, Gisborne, or wherever they want to go. effectively what I'm saying is there is no concern about traffic once that Eastern Link goes through. End of story, because even the people on Litterdirk Park Road and O'Connell Road will engage that Eastern Link going through, regardless of where they're going. So effectively the local traffic will be reduced. The local traffic on Gisborne Road will be reduced. Well, the local traffic will be there, but the through traffic will be removed. So effectively, the traffic generally locally will certainly, if not be reduced, will not, be escalating to any great deal.
Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, I've got a second question. Thanks, Mr Mayor. I note that our submission doesn't go through till next week as well. So I suppose the question is more to officers. Does our submission align with the decision that was made in 2017 and presented in 2018 on this particular property?
Okay.
Through the chair, the submission as it's presented to councillors tonight has identified a number of, through the background reporting phase, the development of the PSP has identified a number of constraints that isn't necessarily entirely related to the traffic implications that have just been set out by the resident. Those constraints relate to bushfire, sodic soils, visual impact on the O'Connell Road slope area, which all of these accumulative impacts contribute to the developability of the land. So the submission tonight identifies that a lower density, if development was to occur, a lower density is appropriate. Where that lands is obviously to be determined through the current exhibition process that's on foot for the precinct structure plan, and that will be a consideration for the VPA, and obviously council would continue to be engaged in those conversations.
Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks. My third question would be that it's fairly obvious that the decision made in 2017-18 put a severe disadvantage financially on Mr Tassone in terms of rates. I don't know what's going on with feedback, but anyhow. And then there's these unintended consequences of the VPA just jump in and rearrange things. And I understand that the council, we can only go back 1 year in terms of best use of land and the way that they're valued. How do we put a reasonable argument together to suggest that the decision made in 2018 we've worked with as a council in terms of the valuer general, and we've charged the people accordingly, and now we're faced with a situation where that will be changed dramatically should this go through. Now, there's no guarantee it goes through, so the question is, within the recommendation tonight, how do we protect the resident, or have we got enough protection within the recommendation that sits here so that we can support any of these probably unintended consequences of changes from 2018 to where we sit today in 2026, and how we manage that? I know that's a lot of work for one question, but it needs to be explained.
Take that. Okay. I see you.
Through the chair. I suppose the issue is going to be is the VPA is the planning authority and not council on this particular one. And council can put a letter in support, but it will really come down to the VPA making the decision on this. Council are, in all intents and purposes, a referral authority in a lot of this. So this is actually being handled by state government. But I think there's always an option that if council was of the view is that we would ask the VPA to look at this in a positive light. As to what that weight that would hold, I can't give you any indication as to what that would be.
That's unless no one else. Can I just, if I could take leave, just to make a comment on this, because I think it's relevant and it will be relevant going forward. It's not the first time this has happened over the last few years, where a decision's been made in retrospect. through a lot of work that's been done by our council, and then it's been overridden by the VPA. And I think in the strongest terms, we need to make not just an application or submission regarding this particular, the Merrimoo project, but in terms of how we deal with these unintended consequences of changes of government, changes in the planning department, and changes in the VPA, and indeed where we've gone from Melbourne plan to now Victorian plan, and we reshuffled the decks, and then we're stuck with these problems. And at the end of the day, we represent the residents. That's our role, and we're being overridden. And the fact is, we're actually being treated like a ratepayers association, and I think that's disrespectful to local government. Anyhow, Mr Mayor, I just thank you for allowing me to seek leave on that. Thank you.
No worries. Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, thank you, Mr Mayor. I do note that the recommendation before us tonight, point 1, is to adopt the submission at Appendix 2 as council submission. So I suppose that I'm asking a similar question to Councillor Tatchell, in that what we have, or the petitioner here tonight, is there scope in council submission to cater for what the gentleman has raised?
Through the chair, the submission goes into quite a level of detail in the appendices. There is further detail in the appendices that talks to the O'Connell Road slope area. I don't have the number of the page offhand, but I'll find it for you. The commentary in the back end of the submission through the tables indicates that a density or a yield of approximately 6 hectare allotments may be appropriate. That is purely in response to all of those constraints that I spoke to previously. This land is heavily constrained. Development of the land with sodic soils, as you can appreciate, is challenging. And until additional work has been done through detailed design, the information isn't available to us at this stage. So the background reporting to prepare a PSP has gone on so far, and then additional work would need to be undertaken in order to satisfy the VPA that the appropriate level of development could be delivered, I suppose. So in response to your question, we've got a suggested 6 hectare in the submission in the back end. That's not necessarily where it will land, but that's obviously a process that the VPA will need to go through as part of review of submissions to determine what actually is appropriate in these areas, because it's obviously not just this land holding, there are other parcels that are picked up in this O'Connell Road slope area.
Just to follow up,
Okay, Councillor Sullivan.
I think the 6 hectares would be rural living, and I think what the gentleman has touched upon, and is low density residential development, which is a greater yield than 6 hectares or rural living. So, it's difficult because the officers that are here now weren't part of that journey when it started, so it does make it sort of hard as to how and where along that journey changes were made, and that's always difficult when you're sort of, so I'm just, given that this, as I said, recommendation, this our submission, and the CEO is right when he said that it's not our amendment, it's the VPP's amendment, and we are a submitter. But surely there'd be scope in there for us to be able to put forward what we think should happen. I mean, we don't have to acquiesce to the VPA. I mean, not that we ever do, but I don't think we should have to. We should be here looking after our people. And I think that's the critical thing. So I would like to think that there's scope in our submission to cater for what the gentleman has raised.
See ya.
Through the chair, I think as Kate has mentioned, is what we've put in there is not the final outcome. So we can put the gentleman's submission in and say that council has received this submission. I think if you're asking for council to amend our component to actually, for council's position to be this, I don't think the work has been done yet. if that makes sense. There's still more work to be done. I think we could put a qualifier on it, pending further work to be done. Council's position is X. I think that would be a way around it, because there's significant vegetation and other works that need to be done, I think.
Councillor Sullivan.
So am I reading correctly that this submission could be an addendum to council's submission? And would that, so we could do that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So an undertaking that would be an addendum, I would be comfortable with
Yes,
that.
exactly.
Mr. CEO.
Councillor Tatchell.
Just a quick one, based on the answer that we got back from both the CEO and Kate. I just want to know if there's a risk that the VPA could come in and stamp this before we've done that work to get that submission in, because there has been some extraordinary decisions made out of the VPA that have sort of overrun it. So I just want to make sure that we have enough time to at least look at this thing.
I see you.
I think that work that would be required is extensive, and it's not necessarily work that council would be doing. I think what we would do is, as I said, is we could add it as an addendum, to get the correct phrase there, and highlight that we have received this and investigate the timeline, as Councillor Sullivan has requested. But I think if we think the work can be done before the submission is due, that won't be possible. I wouldn't.
Councillor Minogue. Do you want to?
Concerned that they just come in and make a decision and we're still grappling with the unintended consequences, that's all.
Through the chair, I don't want to sound overly optimistic or overly defeatist on this one, councillors, but you are well aware of what happened with Parowan Station and how that decision was made. So what I can say is we can put it in. I have no idea what weight would be put on any of it. I mean, the resident will put in their submission as well, and then if it's in there twice, it might get a bit more legs, is what I would say. But we've seen the impact of these decisions getting made where we're not involved, and then the impact that has on residents, as Councillor Sullivan has highlighted.
Councillor Minari.
Thank you. What would the actual deadline be for this? Because I'm aware that we have a special council meeting in 2 weeks. Is there any possibility to postpone?
Through the chair, I'm happy to check with Kate what the actual date is. No, it's tight.
The Chair, the closest submissions is 9th of April. Sorry? The 9th of April.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? We have a recommendation in front of us. Do I have a mover?
I would move it on the undertaking that addendum forms part of it, please.
No. Yeah, Councillor Tatchell. So mover, Councillor Sullivan, seconder, Councillor Tatchell. All those in favour? Carried. 12.1, Blackwood Hiking Hub and Ballan Cycling Hub feasibility studies engagement plan. Councillors, are there any questions? Councillor Sullivan.
Oh, sorry.
You're right. Councillor Tatchell.
Look, I'll move it, Mr Mayor, with a question. We actually accepted, didn't we accept a grant from the government? So we're doing the feasibility study after we got the grant to do it. Is that correct? Or did we get the grant for the feasibility study?
Through the chair, that is correct. Council has received a grant for the feasibility studies to be undertaken.
It was that long ago, I just couldn't remember.
You're fine. Mover is Councillor Tatchell, seconder, Councillor Kerr. All in favour? Carried. 12.2, response to notice of motion number 307, Gordon Manangeton Road, bike walking track. Any questions, councillors? Can I get a mover for that? Councillor Minari. Councillor Berry, seconder. All those in favour? Carried. 13.1, Audit and Risk Advisory Committee of Council reports. Councillors, are there any questions? Councillor Berry?
Oh, sorry, no questions, but I'm happy to move that.
No worries. Mover, Councillor Berry. Seconder, Councillor Keogh. All in favour? Carried. 14.1, Irrigation Water Allocation Policy Adoption. Councillors, are there any questions?
Yeah.
Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I do have one. I do note in the first paragraph under background, it also notes that we have a licensed groundwater bore entitlement, or entitlements, so it's plural, so which is quite interesting. Do we actually know how many megalitres that is, please?
Mr Jeffries?
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, we do know. There's multiple bores with multiple licences, so we do have that information. You want to know the volume?
Well, that's what I was leading to. I was sort of building up to that, Mr Mayor, building up to
Bacchus
it.
Marsh in particular, there's 3 bores at 3 reserves totalling 30 megalitres.
Okay.
And Balan Recreation Reserve has a 20 megalitre bore licence. And there's others across other reserves.
They're not in the same aquifer? Okay.
Yeah, that's correct, not in the same
Okay,
aquifer.
thank you. Second question, if I have.
Councillor Sullivan.
We were appraised, I love that word appraised, it sort of sounds, there at some other time that council currently has about 100 and, well, it's here as well, 175 megs or thereabouts. We only use about 80 and 100 per annum. That's what I was advised of previously. And I could break down where this all goes if you wish. So basically, we should now get on the front foot of water trading because it's costing us $75,000 a year. But if we could actually recoup some monies out of water we don't use, well, it helps the budget. So will we sort of actively now start looking at that? That's my question.
Mr Jeffries.
Through you, Mr Mayor, yeah, this policy enables us to do that proactively, with the caveat that we may not have the 100% entitlement right now, that
True.
it might be less than that. So.
True. No, that's fine. That's a given. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Can I have someone to move that recommendation? Councillor Sullivan. Seconder, Councillor Keogh. All those in favour? Carried. 14.2, Small Township Enhancement Plan Adoption and Update on War Memorial Project, Mount Edgerton. Councillors, are there any questions? We've got Councillor Sullivan.
The topic is small town enhancement relates to the War Memorial Edgerton. Point 2 on the recommendation relates to the Elaine small town. So is that a misdescription or is it sort of really, that is correct? Because recommendation 2 talks about the Elaine small town. So I'm just wondering, is it just a typing error or it is in fact related to 2 matters?
Through you, Mr Mayor. So point 1 is approving the plan that's been developed, and point 2 is around noting that Elaine will be the next town that we do.
No, it's just sort of trying to align the topic to the recommendation, that's also. I'm good to go, I'm happy, thank you.
All good. Councillor Minari, do you want to?
No, it's fine.
You want to? Councillor Minari will move it. Councillor Sullivan, seconder. All those in favour? Carried. 14.3, response to notice of motion number 345, Griffith Street upgrades. Councillors, are there any questions? We've got a recommendation in front of us. Does anyone want to move that? Councillor Berry. You'd like to second that, Jared? Councillor Bingham. All those in favour? Carried. There's no other reports, no notices of motion. No notices of rescission. The Mayor's report, councillors, we have that in front of us. Can I get someone to move that? Councillor Sullivan. Seconder, Councillor Keogh. All those in favour? Carried. Councillors, councillor report. Councillor Sullivan, do you have anything to report?
No councillor report, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have already submitted my written report and I got no more information to put forward. Thank you.
Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to talk about for a moment the work done by the volunteers for the Autumn Festival. What a fantastic job they did despite the problems that happened afterwards. But I'm sure we will talk about that later. But it's incredible that 7 people can build a festival that in all likelihood brings 10,000 people into our region. And whilst we haven't seen the economics of this yet, I would suggest it'd be somewhere between 500 and 800,000 into a town, you know, basically in one day. And it doesn't happen by accident. These people work incredibly hard to make these things happen. And I sometimes don't think they get enough credit for the amount of work that goes in it. These aren't paid people. They're not, it's not a company. They're just volunteers that love their town and work incredibly hard to make this thing happen. So incredibly proud of those people and the work that they did. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tatchell. Councillor Minari.
Yes, I'll submit my report soon. Apologies for not doing it already. But I will just note one, and obviously I concur with Councillor Tatchell in terms of the Bland Autumn Festival. Finally, we were blessed with a nice sunny day. It's been quite some time, and Bland and the regions turn up, rain, hail or shine, and it was wonderful to see out-of-towners. You could really tell as a local that there were many, many people that were maybe there for the first time, or you know, just from not from local towns. Unfortunately, on Friday night, it was very sad to hear that many have been hit with parking infringements, and I just even got another one on my phone just now. So I would like to, you know, continue this conversation in the next few weeks and ask that it is respectfully looked into, and because, you know, I want to support our residents and the visitors that have turned up on that day. I don't want this reputation tarnished, the reputation of an amazing festival and wonderful volunteers that make this happen every single year, but also the reputation of this council. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Minari. Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I too submitted my councillor report, and I asked to speak on the Peri-Urban Councils Victoria, where March has been a very busy month for PUCV. So the 5th of March, we had the federal delegation. The 20th of March, we had the board online meeting. And this week on yesterday, 31st of March, the state delegation. So the key things emerging across the delegations from federal and state governments where growth is outpacing enabling infrastructure. Housing pressures were raised repeatedly, with discussion focused on the practical infrastructure that must sit behind new growth areas rather than housing targets alone. We also discussed DCP arrangements, so Development Contribution Plan arrangements were consistently raised as part of the funding challenge, with emphasis on the need to bring infrastructure forward rather than wait until contributions fully accrue. We have a new issue with Peri-Urban Councils Victoria, and that's around public transport. Planning does not reflect peri-urban travel patterns. So bus connectivity was one of the most consistent issues raised across meetings, including the need for broader network planning and better connections to jobs, services and rail. Growth in peri-urban areas occurs across established townships, which requires a different service design response than metropolitan greenfield areas. Our digital connectivity issue is still on the table, and we spoke about it quite a bit this week, and at federal is essential to livability, safety and economic participation. Digital connectivity was positioned as a core peri-urban issue with reliable mobile coverage and broadband seen as essential to livability, business activity, service access and emergency management in fast-growing communities. Peri-urban councils needed clearer policy recognition, spoken about at state and federal, and livability infrastructure remains central to the housing proposition. So our key recommendations and asks for both at federal and state are the Future Fund, which I've spoken about before, the $90 million developer contribution loan funding mechanism, digital connectivity, recognise peri-urban areas have grey spots, and continue rounds of the peri-urban mobile program to coordinate investments and address worse reliability gaps. The public transport, our new issues, so expansions of local and crosstown bus networks in peri-urban areas, provide a new round of the federal active transport fund with a stream for peri-urban areas, and finally definition of peri-urban, which we've spoken to state and federal, that we are very different and unique, and to facilitate engagement between relevant Commonwealth departments and peri-urban councils to progress implementation. So that covers the very busy month of March, but would like to add that if any of the councils would like to ask any questions or talk to me about it, I'm happy to take any calls. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have put in my councillor's report, but just one thing. I did attend the Coffee with the Councillors on Saturday the 14th of March, and I'd like to thank Councillor Ward for organising it, and it was great to meet and chat to residents. Our next Coffee with a Councillor is Saturday the 18th of April at the Daly Market, but I can assure all residents of Moorabool that we will be in your area in the near future, and we look forward to meeting and chatting to everyone that would like to have a chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bingham.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I've just got one item. I want to acknowledge and pay my respects to the recent passing of Lynn Edwards. As many councillors in this room know, Lynn's wife of David Edwards, long-time councillor and a very dear friend of mine. I've grown fondly, very close to Lynn and David over the years, but you know, Lynn touched a lot of lives. It was a beautiful ceremony. There was standing room only, inside and outside of Crawford, and also a bunch of the guys watching it on live streaming at her beloved West Golf Course. And you know, there's no better indicator of how many lives somebody's touched than those people who have been in attendance at your funeral. Lynn's touched so many lives, and she will sincerely be missed. And yeah, rest in peace.
Well said, Councillor Bingham. Councillor Ward.
Nothing to report, Mr Mayor, but I'd like to endorse Councillor Bingham's comments and commend him on the way he's just presented that. Sincere sympathy to David and his family on his passing.
Thank you. Councillors, can I get someone to move the reports? Councillor Keogh. Councillor Freeman. All those in favour? Carried. Councillors, urgent business, Councillor Sullivan.
Just have a question, if I may. Given the recent increase in fuel costs, particularly diesel, has this or do we anticipate a claim from our garbage recycling collection contract as a result of increase in fuel?
Mr Jeffries.
Through you, Mr Mayor, that contract is subject to rise and fall.
Yes.
So, yeah, we would expect an increase in the contract when that rise and fall trigger is met. We're also working with them around limiting costs in terms of route optimisation and particularly collection of street litter bins that may not need to be collected as frequently just to save on fuel cost. So that's a work in progress.
Supplementary question, Mr Mayor. When would we expect to get something concrete back from the contractors? Obviously, council officers have been working in this space, but when would we expect? Because I'd be interested to know what that impact is going to have on our budget going forward. Because I can't see fuel prices coming back. That's all. Thank you.
Mr Jeffries.
Through you, Mr Mayor, discussions are happening at the moment, so I'd expect in the next couple of weeks we would have some information.
Thank you.
No other, urgent business? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Kerr, any urgent business?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have no urgent business.
Thank you. Any urgent business? Councillor Tatchell?
No urgent business here, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Minari, any urgent business?
No urgent business, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Berry, any urgent business?
No urgent business, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Any urgent business, Councillor?
No urgent business, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Bingham, any urgent business?
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Ward, any urgent business?
No, Mr Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. We don't have a closed session tonight, so I'll declare the meeting closed.